All right, we got to finish off. It's kind of the first portion of our non-conference schedule. We've had these 8 games over the last 3.5 weeks. So, talk to the guys about finishing it off strong. We need to play our best 40 minutes, our most complete game, particularly in the areas of we just got to have better discipline with the ball, not turn the ball over as much, especially in transition. We had 25% turnover rate in transition in Florida. We've got to rebound better. Wake Forest out rebounded us. Penn State did a good job on the glass against us as well. We've got to get more active defensively. We've got to have more deflections. Hands got to be more active. So we got to shore those areas up. We've got to be better in those areas. Tomorrow night, Ohio is very, very good. Sears, the point guard, could play for anybody in the country, any team in the SEC. Carter, the big kid, started at Ohio, went to Xavier, and is back at Ohio, and really good post player, and plays out of the mid post and the long post. And then Vanderplas, number 5, is a 42% three-point shooter. Really good pick and pop four-man, can play out of the post as well. Number 3 is a good shooter, the lefty, and number two can make shots or is a good shooter, and and does a good job putting the ball on the floor as well. So they've got a really good team. They've got a great roster. Coach Bowles does a great job. They've got hundreds of plays in different sets. So they do a really, really good job. They beat Virginia last year in the NCAA tournament. They're 5-1. They've won a lot of games. They've done a nice job. Their only loss is at Kentucky, and they played a really, really good game at Kentucky. So be a big test for us tomorrow as we kind of close out the first portion of non-conference play.
Yeah, just a couple days to digest it now. Just the performance in Florida and just kind of how you guys think you did and how big that was for you to get that tournament win.
That's good. I mean, but we're moving on now. I mean, that was in the past. So we had a good time with it Saturday night. We enjoyed it Sunday, and then we were back at it yesterday. So, um, that was good. We kind of got that behind us, and now we've got to focus on finishing off this first part of the non-conference schedule as strong as we can.
I know you don't like the turnovers, obviously, but as fast as y'all play, do you give a little bit of
Yeah, a little bit of leeway,
leeway?
but you can't. I mean, it's all based on percentage. We're turning over 1 in every 4 possessions in transition. We should be turning over 1 in every 15 possessions in transition. We have a numbers advantage, and we're turning the ball over, which can't happen. And so we left dozens of points on the table this weekend with just carelessness with the ball. And so we've got to get that corrected. It does us no good to get the steals and to get out in transition if we can't convert. You got to have conversion offense. We got to do a much better job converting.
And the rebounding, these are the first 2 games you played against high majors and didn't rebound well. Did you see
Well, we
something
out
on
rebounded
tape?
Penn State. We out rebounded Penn State, and no, we've got to be better. A lot of the rebounding's not on our bigs; it's on our guards. A lot of these are long and loose rebounds. They've got, they're shooting a lot of threes against us just with the way we guard. And like we got to chase some balls down. We don't get. I mean, yeah, we've gotten bullied down low a few times, but a vast majority of them have been long rebounds that we're just not chasing down. We're trying to dribble to control. Trust me, I showed a nice little edit of all those from this past weekend yesterday. So we know what we've got to do, and we got to do a better job there.
Will, how are you keeping this team grounded? You guys are doing things that haven't been done in a couple of decades, and just it seems even keel, and you're just not satisfied at all.
Well, I mean, we got a lot of work to do. I mean, look, our margins for error are very, very thin. All right. I worked for a guy, Tommy Amaker. He had a great saying: "Peacock today, feather duster tomorrow." All right. So he used to say that all the time when we'd be winning. It's true. So we've got to we got to stick with what we're doing. Like I said, our margins are thin. We have to play well every night. We can't take an off night if we want to beat anybody that's got a pulse. And Ohio's a great team, and so we have very, very thin margins, and we've got to maximize what we're doing every day. We got to maximize what we're doing in practice every day. We got to maximize our preparation. We got to maximize how we eat, how we sleep, everything. And so, it's just our margins are thinner. Doesn't mean we're not good, and we are good, and we've done a lot of great things. But they don't give you anything for what you're, how you're doing at the end of the first month of the season. It's a long season. We've got December, January, February. We've got 3 more months left, so it's a long year, and we've got to we've got a lot of growth we need to continue to make. We're still light years from where I think we can be, and it's my job to get us there.
But what makes those margins thinner with the way this squad is built? It seems to have such good depth.
Well, we look. There's narrower paths to victory, and so we've got to stick on those paths, and we got to make sure we're doing what we can to stay on those paths.
And just before I give someone else, just first road test. What do you think about how they performed away from the PMAC?
It was solid. It was solid. I mean, we had a great crowd there, so it wasn't really like the road, but we were solid, but we were a little out of kilter against Penn State. A lot of out of kilter against Penn State. There was a bunch of reasons for that, but we were able to kind of slow down and relax and play with a little bit better poise and pace against Wake.
Is one of those paths playing well consistently on defense? I mean, you guys played a couple of good offensive teams and held them to 60 points.
Yeah, I mean, we Penn State we would have held under 60 in regulation, if not, if we hadn't gotten in overtime. Wake Forest, we gave them 7. They made 7 out of 8 free throws off technicals and flagrant fouls and that sort of thing, and they banked in 2 threes at the end of the shot clock. So there were 6 points there and 7 out of 8. I mean, that was 13 points we gave those guys. So, we've got to we got to correct some things defensively. We're too slow matching up out of the back end of our press. Our fix-it situations are way too slow. Some teams are going to be able to take advantage of that if we don't get that fixed. And so we spent a lot of time yesterday talking about that. We're going to work on that for a long time today. So there's a lot of stuff like that we've just got to get shored up as we continue to ramp up in competition and step up in competition here.
Is one thing that motivates this team is also not getting the respect from the AP or the national media?
I don't know. You'd have to ask them. I don't even know about that. But, that's how it is at LSU. You gotta prove it, and prove it again if you wanted to go. You gotta go take it. I tell our guys that all the time. Ain't nothing given to you. You gotta go take it. You gotta go prove it, and if that ain't enough, you gotta go do it again. If that's not enough, you gotta go do it again. So that's just the way it works around here. But we like that.
How would you evaluate how the offense played from Penn State to Wake Forest and just the growth in just the one day?
We were better. The Penn State game. Penn State had a good game plan. He obviously was in the NBA. He's a good coach. They play ball screens a little bit differently. They do an NBA style ball screen stuff and take some time to adjust to the ice. We were too jittery, too rushed. I told our guys, just relax, slow down, play with some pace. Like we were all over the place. And so I thought against Wake we had better pace. We were able to get the ball inside a little bit easier, which helped. So I thought against Wake it was certainly improved, but it's not where we need to be. We've got to be better on offense than we've been. The turnovers. That's why the turnovers are a huge deal. I mean, really, our best offense against Penn State was our offensive rebounding. But we've got to be better. We've got to be much better offensively than we've been moving forward.
Well, I was going to ask you about the rankings too, but that's okay. It's been asked. But your thoughts on the Brian Kelly hire? Do you know anything about him?
Well, I don't, except for my brother went to Notre Dame and is a huge Notre Dame fan. Still goes to like 2 or 3 games a year. He lives in Chicago. And he texted me last night, and he was not happy we got him. So I took that as a good sign. I took that as a positive sign. But I mean, look, he's a winner, and I think everybody knows Scott and Verge and Stephanie's track record on these sort of things. And I mean, he's gonna win. So I mean, he's won everywhere he's been, and now you're putting him in a place that has, unlimited resources, and he's gonna do a great job. Jay.
You didn't have your 2 best shooting nights of the season in Florida.
You think?
Yeah. And not to make excuses, but was a little bit of it maybe the depth perception? for the
No,
smaller?
come on,
Okay, but
come on.
how much was
no.
their defense? No. No, I'm not trying to
No.
make excuses.
A lot of it was our quality of shot. Our quality of shot was a lot of it. We should be able to shoot anywhere. These are high level, really, really good players. We'll be able to shoot anywhere.
I know we've asked you about Tari a lot, but he was really, a matchup, nightmare for both the teams you guys played, this weekend. Just talk about what kind of benefits he can have just coming off the bench instead of maybe as a starter.
Well, look, we got all 8 of our guys are capable of starting. I mean, any of those 8 guys could start for a lot of teams, and so just the way our rotation works now, this is just kind of the flow we've been in, and the flow we've been in at the beginning of the year. But Tari's played great. I mean, he's I don't think there's anybody that would question he's not one of the best players on our team. No matter he plays huge minutes and plays down the stretch. He made 10 of 12 free throws, which was tremendous. He's starting to shoot and make some open threes, which is really the next progression. When he's making those, he's going to be impossible to guard because he can just get downhill and get to the rim and make things happen. So, he's continuing to progress, and I think there's, like I said, with our team, I think there's a bunch more steps that he can take and we can take as a group to continue to get better.
On the topic of your depth, you had 7 different players score 9 points or more on Saturday. I know you've been talking about this all off season, but how nice is it to have that many guys that can win you a game on any given night?
Yeah, and the other guy steals the ball every 5 possessions. So, it's good that we don't have guys you can really focus in on because we're so balanced. We've got multiple guys that can score. We've got multiple ways we can get things done. You look, we beat Penn State in days. I don't think scored in double figures, or if he did, he barely got in double figures. I don't think he got into double figures. So. There's just we have a lot of different weapons. It's spread out. We've got a lot of different ways. Offensively, we can come at you and pick at the matchups and pick at what we need to pick at. We've just got to be smarter about it, and we've got to do it earlier and recognize that stuff earlier and better.
With Darius, is there from the 3-point line? Is there a difference in the looks that he's getting or anything like that, or is it just?
Well, the looks in the Penn State game were tough. He got 5 of his 6 looks against Wake Forest were great looks. He was 1 of 6, I believe. 5 of the 6 looks were great looks. I just look at shot quality. Days takes great looks. He's going to knock them in. Most days against Wake, he makes 3 of those 5 or 4 of those 5. And the one he didn't make the 6. I mean, he'd be 3 of 6 or something on a normal day for him. So we ain't worried about that. He's been in here shooting. He'll be just fine.
Well, you're very purposeful in the way you schedule non-conference games as far as helping you with your resume and that sort of thing. Is that something that you want the players to be aware of, or you just
Oh no, they're aware of.
Yeah.
I let them know how
You let
all
them
that
know?
stuff works.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they know. I don't get into the math with them,
No,
but they know. They're aware of how good Ohio is, why Ohio's on the schedule, how good these other teams, why everybody's on the schedule, and they always see me. We're on the bus. I'm always checking other teams' scores that we played, and they're aware of kind of what we do and why we do it. They don't really know the ins and outs of everything, but they're certainly aware of that we're playing Ohio that's beat Virginia in the NCAA tournaments, picked second in the MAC, has 3 all-league players, really good. Us in Kentucky, I think we're the only 2 high major teams that would schedule them. That's how good they are. I think we're the only 2 high major teams that even return their calls. And so, it just shows, what a good team and what a good program they have. And they've been good for a long time. I mean, John Gross was there before they've had really good coaches, really good players. I think they've won like 3 NCAA tournament games in the last 10 years as a program, at least 2, but I think 3. And so they've been really good. You watch their film. I mean, their convocation center, they got 4,000 or 5,000 people at every game. The student section's rocking. They got a huge band. They got a great following. So, they're a really good program, and our guys are certainly aware of that.
I assume you don't return a game to them or anything like that. I assume.
No.
No, no, it's
No.
It's not a criticism. I was saying, is it hard to get those schools to do that, to schedule these kind of games?
You see, you pull them contracts like Sheldon. Sheldon's got all those contracts. They go right to him. They come right to him. I mean, look, for Ohio's case, Ohio probably doesn't have to play many of these games or doesn't have to play any of these. But what they'll do, I'm not speaking for them, but what those teams do, the hook for them is we'll play them. They can turn around and take our check and go buy one or two teams to go play them at home. Does that make sense? So, like, somebody like that, that's what they'll do. Like, I think Liberty, like, he doesn't have to play buy games. They got more money than God, literally. I think he uses the money to Kent, you all right back there? I think like they used the money to charter flights and stuff like that. So, I don't know. There's different the higher end teams like this are certainly, to your point, the higher end teams are certainly tougher to get to schedule where they'll just come to you and it's not a home and home or it's not a neutral, but that you have to find the ones that each have different reasons for why they want to, for why they need the money basically, to schedule it. But yeah, I mean, Ohio, I don't even think Ohio, I mean, I think they're just playing this game. I mean, look, for Ohio, it's a huge game too. They've got a legit at-large chance. I mean, this could be a signature win on their resume. Their only losses to Kentucky. The rest of their non-conference schedule is very manageable with the team that they have. And so, I mean, they've got some high-end opportunities ahead of them. But this is the flip side of that is too, somebody like Belmont, when they come in and Liberty, Belmont's playing for at large consideration as well. So they're doing the same thing we are. It's just a different way of going about it. So there's a flip side to all that as well.
Anything else?
All right.